And so
I will. I gotta figure that out.
Great,
That's where I'm at. It's
okay,
like,
thank
I know
you.
they went-
Sorry about the
they went-
delay. This
they
is
went
the
to the Wizard of the
Conservation
World.
regular
Fred
meeting,
Brooks, who works-
Conservation
who
Commission
works-
regular meeting for Thursday, October 10th at 12. We're starting the meeting at 12:11. We're going to start the meeting with roll call. Robin Bates Mason here.
John Fusek here.
So, but yeah.
Susan Schweitzer here.
That's-
And-
that's like-
And can you hear us?
And can you hear us?
I'm
Yeah, and
here.
Sylvia
I'm
here.
Sylvia here.
Okay, and now to approve the regular meeting minutes of July 11th, 2024, and the special meeting minutes of September 19th, 2024. Any changes?
It was Rick Shortridge who was, look at that.
Oh, is it the wrong name?
That was it. Baseball.
Okay, so that name needs to be, okay. So I'll make a change to the,
Okay.
Didn't even know he wanted to do that.
okay, so the name with Rick's last name changed. Any other changes? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes with the changes?
I'm abstaining. I wasn't there.
No. Okay,
I'm in favor.
okay, next on the agenda, public comments. Don't see anyone, okay. Why did I just lose this? Okay, next on the agenda is the ARPA tree planting, an update from Beautification League on the South Avenue planting. So we have in attendance, we have Betsy Bylis of New Canaan Beautification League and Nancy Malling, Malling, of President of New Canaan Beautification League. Thank you for being here.
Right. I will start. The thing I don't know is how much you have heard about this project already. I can start at the beginning.
So we've been up to date in meetings. The last meeting we had, we knew that there couldn't proceed because of the state had the regulations on the sides of the diameter of the trees, the caliber, sorry, of the trees. The commissioners have been notified that that's changed. So we want to know what the change is when the ARPA funds need to go into the general fund if they're not used, but how's, yeah, just an update on it.
Well,
no.
We have been told that the state DOT has backed away from its earlier requirement that the maximum diameter of the trees at maturity has to be 4 inches, which struck us as very strange to begin with. So that was a very positive development. Tiger is aware of that. This came through Bob Horan, the tree warden.
Right.
It looks to us now as though that was the main stumbling block that we had for the main delay for this project. And so what we need to do is to move forward with the revising the plans, because there will have to be some revisions of the planting plan by Keith Simpson Associates. So they will do that. We will proceed with the staking of the sites for the trees, taking into consideration the sightline requirements and any others that the state may impose. And then we would, well, after the staking, get written consents from the homeowners along South Avenue. So that's something that those 3 things are the follow-up. Those are the next steps that we're looking at. And the idea is that we will send out the RFP, or Bob will send out the RFP either late this year or very early in 2025. And we'd look at spring planting in 2025 for the trees. And it's about 140 some trees. We're not sure exactly how many we'll end up with.
Sorry, it's about 100 and
40 some. Yeah, we had a tree survey that was done 25 years ago. And at the time, this was a forestry consultant. They recommended at the time that between Elm Street and the YMCA, they recommended planting 132 trees. So it's roughly consistent with some earlier estimates that we had. They actually did plant 56 trees in 1999 as the first part of this project. And we're sort of following on to that earlier work that was done.
Will the spring planting schedule require a watering plan?
Yes. And that's something that the town is going to step up to and do.
Right. Yeah, so we'll take care of that as well. So, you know, to Betsy's point, a lot of positive momentum over the past month, I'd say, because the state rescinded that restriction on the caliper. And then they had a couple of requirements, as she mentioned, and we're working through those. So Bill Pollock and Keith Simpson will go out with the league and stake everything. Once they stake everything, we'll put it onto a plan because they'd like it on a plan as well. Marie and I will go out and view the sight lines and make sure that they're okay before the state goes out in case we need to move one tree or another. And then Bob is on board where he wants to have it to the nurseries in time so that they plan for a spring dig, right? So, you know, which is optimum, right? So they'll be
Before bud
planning.
break.
Yeah, but they'll know exactly what they want and then plan to dig in the spring and then bring them to us. Instead of we waiting afterwards and then they haven't been dug or they've been dug and they've been sitting for too long, it'll be a question of if we get out early enough with the planting list in the December, January timeframe, then they can plan on when, and then we'll know exactly when they're coming. And at that point, Highway will assist the Beautification League on the planting and then the watering after that. We'll have to work through that. We have, you know, we take care of all the baskets in town 3 days a week, actually more than that, but you know, on Essence 3 to 4 days a week, we do the baskets in town. So if we've got to go 5 days a week and do the trees on the other 2 days, then we'll do that. See exactly how long it takes to do each tree. You know, there's quite a few baskets, so it takes a long time for that. So
If you
So-
had some enthusiastic property owners, would they water their own trees?
likely, yeah, you know, likely, but yeah, we don't want to rely
Oh,
on
I
that.
understand.
Yeah, and the only glitch, you know, that Betsy mentions the fact that we have two things we're requiring. We have a municipal maintenance agreement, which means that we'll maintain the trees. We have municipal maintenance agreements on many things in town that are on state roads. So if we put granite curbing as part of a sidewalk installation on state road, we need to maintain the granite curb because it's not what the state would put in. They put in blacktop curb, we want granite, it's an upgrade, we have to maintain it. Similar to what the trees are, same thing. We'd have to maintain the trees, prune the trees. God forbid the tree falls down, we'd have to remove it, you know, things of that nature. Or if it was dead or diseased or dying, we'd have to remove it. But there are plantings, so I don't see that as a stumbling block.
And you need to do that before you can plant. You need to have that in place before you can plant.
Yeah. So, and then the other is just that we need to get consent from the homeowners. It's an interesting requirement, but we'll be talking to each
So the
homeowner about
consent
it.
is required, even, it's not
They say it
technically.
is, but it's not their land.
yeah.
It's the state's right of way. And I don't know if the state would have gotten approval from every homeowner to put a tree in front of their house, but they're asking for us to go get consent. So we'll knock on every door. Once we
This-
know where the
The
tree.
state is asking you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And once we know where the tree is going to be, based upon the staking from the Beautification League, and we know what tree it's going to be, then we'll knock on the door and talk to the homeowner about each individual one. I don't expect much pushback. We had a little bit of pushback on the first plantings, only because when they reach maturity, we had a catalpa tree. And the catalpa tree has really long,
Yeah.
pods that become slippery. And I had one neighbor, just one, the entire street, just one who did not like that catalpa tree and made us know that we didn't like that tree. And eventually we wound up taking it down because it became a hazard for people walking because the pods were so long. And they would stick to the pavement or stick to the sidewalk and then get a little slippery. And he was concerned about it. We were concerned about it. He was getting up in age. So at that point in time, we took the tree down, but we only took the tree down, say 2-3 years ago. So it'd have been about 20 years.
They're
ago.
actually very entertaining, the pods.
Yeah.
They rattle.
Yes, they do. Yeah, it adds a lot of, differentiation. The tree does. It's kind of nice, but in this one instance, in its location where it was and what it was doing, we felt at that time to take it down. So we took it down.
And the planting time fits in with the ARPA funds.
So that's it. So that's a different discussion. So ARPA, we have to have everything, all the money's allocated by December 26th. We will not make that December 24th, I think it is. we will not make that time frame. So what will have to happen is the town will be sweeping the funds back
Yep.
into the general fund or into our funds, and then we'll have to ask for a special appropriation going forward. So when we get the money, when we know how much it is, the estimates, then we'll go forward to the town bodies and say, we had $200,000 set aside for tree planting. We needed to sweep it back in so we wouldn't lose the money, because there's a cause for that. If we don't have it allocated and expended by a certain time,
Right. Goes
so
back
it's almost a cleaner process to have it swept back and then go ask for the appropriation, get the appropriation, and then go forward from there.
Would there be any difficulty from within the town bodies?
It's Board of Selectmen, Board of
Board of
Finance, Town
Finance,
Council. All three bodies had approved the original allotment at the time when the ARPA funds were, so while I can't say that it's a given,
Right.
there was a subcommittee that had approved the ARPA allocation, and then it had gone to the bodies for approval, and all three bodies had approved the allocation. So the assumption is that we would then gain the same, that they would just re-verify the appropriation.
Okay, Anne has a question.
Hi, and thank you to the Beautification League for coming to talk about this. I'm just curious whether you've determined what kind of tree will be planted and whether it will be native, and some trees support the food web more than others, and whether they'll all be the same trees. If you're looking for that sort of uniform canopy, of trees down South Ave, I just was curious what you were envisioning.
I'm happy to talk about that. We do have a plant list. Our original guideline was that we would try not to have any more than one species represent more than 10% of the total. We have essentially two heights of trees. We have a list of trees that are up to 30 feet in height at maturity. And those would go under the wires. And then the ones that are not under the street wires would be taller than that. So we have short trees and tall trees. They are all native, except for, I think there are 5 crabapple trees that are not native to this country. But we were very mindful of selecting native trees so that it would have the environmental benefits that natives bring. And we're Doug Talamay fans, and so we've got some oaks in there and
Great.
lots of good natives.
All right, great. Are you giving the homeowners a choice of which tree to put on their property, or are you is Keith Simpson doing that?
Well, we have not initially. We just kind of made a suggested species.
But to point, it's not their property. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Well, it's not their property. It's the town decision to do, although within reason, if they say, well, we really prefer such and such a tree and it's on our list, we could probably switch out trees, but I don't think we're going to make that part of our formal process of requesting their consent. And we did get initially a couple of us volunteers went around South Avenue a couple of years ago and left letters at the door saying we're going to do this project. And we did get some comments from that exercise, some saying, can you put the trees farther away from our front walk? Can you, is it going to be too tall? Is it whatever? And so we had some initial conversations with the homeowners to kind of smooth the way for this project.
Great. Thank you for that.
Is your plant list available somewhere?
Yes, I have a version of it, which I will not share today because I think it has been revised. But I think Keith and Bill have it at the Keith Simpson Associates. So I'll see if I can get the most recent version.
Or if they just post it on the Beautification League website, it would be fine. I'm just curious. I'm not intending to interfere.
Okay, we will
That's a good idea.
get the plant list.
I think Tiger needs to reach out to the homeowners first before confirming on the plant list. just in
Well, we
case?
have a list of plants that we'll be putting in, but it's a
Just
question
on
of.
which,
each
where.
week, right, in each
Okay.
location. So we can give you the list of plants that we're
No, I'm
considering.
not interested in location and
Okay,
I
yeah.
think
We'll give you the list of plants that are being considered.
Yeah,
not-
yeah,
And
the
then we'll
wires are
have to work
probably
through the,
your most
yeah, the
guiding
location.
principle.
Right,
Yeah.
and, yeah.
No, I don't care.
To
about
Betsy's
that.
point, when the original point was that they didn't want to have a monoculture. And they wanted to show
No.
diversity and the state wanted the same. The state did not want to see a monoculture like, planting all elms, say, or, all
Or
maples. They did
ash.
not, or yes, right, for the exact same
Or
reason,
beech,
right?
yeah.
So,
Right,
so they
right.
didn't want that. They wanted the diversity also, and that was when we were talking to them initially, before the caliper question came into play. So that fit in with our plans already, which was to then, have multiple different types of trees to give you a different look as you come down the street. It is South Avenue, so it's south, right? Elms, we're trying to put on Elm Street. We're trying to put elms back on Elm Street and a little bit of maples on Maple Street, but we can't necessarily, South Avenue doesn't have a tree name. It's just South Avenue. So it kind of lends itself to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
You know?
Do
Right.
you have an estimate of what that might cost? And the essence of the 140 trees, and the essence of my question is to make sure that we use all the allocated funds even through this process that is, less than
Well,
perfect.
so there was, in essence, there was $100,000 for street trees and $100,000 for park trees.
Yeah.
So we'll come close on the street trees. And if there are others that we want to look to in other locations, we'll do the exact same, for the street. And then we are looking at trees in the parks. The parks are a little bit
Harder, yeah.
we have a very good canopy in a lot of locations in the parks. There are some areas we can look at, but it's a little bit more difficult to find the locations in the parks than it is on the roadway at present. But yeah, the thought is to expend the entire amount.
The initial 50 trees that were planted 25 years ago cost $20,000.
Right.
Or a little less, actually. But, so I figure we're tripling the amount of trees. And over time, there's, the cost will have gone up. But I think that the allocation seems to be right in the right ballpark.
Well, you have standard calipers for the initial planting, right?
Yes, probably 2.5 to 3.5 caliper.
So, Tiger, just,
Yeah.
probably not the beautification league, but what about, has any money gone to the parks for trees?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No.
Would Bristow be able, is there,
So could be, yeah. The original, we didn't make a determination between one, a decision between one park or another.
Mhm.
So yeah, so if Bristow, if there were some ideas at Bristow for additional plantings, then I would say yes, there would be, it's going to be, it'll go underneath the same approval process
Mhm.
whereby, since the funds will be swept, we'll have to go back. And the thought is to, come in with a plan for each park and ask for the allocation.
okay.
for each
So has
park.
Waveney Conservancy, have they drawn up a plan?
They're working on an arbor plan, working on an arbor plan together, but it's predominantly centered around the house
Okay,
itself and a little bit down the roads. That plan is in draft form, and it's with the Conservancy waiting for their final review. And then once then we'll adopt it at that point. So it's with the Conservancy at present.
all right. So I would say, I mean, with the Conservation Commission, obviously the Parks Department's already been working on, the Parks and Rec Commission's been working on this, right?
They're aware of it.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So if the Conservation Commission, because we oversee Bristow, if we, I mean, I'm thinking of like spice bush trees for the understory to try to compete out with the wing euonymus. Would it be better to try to put for that prior to the ARPA funds rolling over, or?
I think you just ask for the appropriation after.
Okay.
Let it be swept back in and then come in individually. I think it's be a better process.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Betsy and Nancy?
No.
Okay, thank you for the update.
Yeah, thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very
This is a great project.
Yeah, I bet.
They've been very patient. They've been very patient. Very difficult. It's not an easy one. Thought it was going to be very easy and You've been very patient, and we're getting close now, so it's, now you can feel some excitement, so we're getting closer. It's good, yeah,
Tiger's been great.
yeah, so.
Betsy, you've been working on this for 3 years now?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I said she's been very
Yeah.
patient, very, I'm used to it. They're not used to it, so I'm used to it, so they're very patient.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, the Bristow update. New Canaan Land Trust, in the agreement they signed to be a steward of Bristow in 2023, one of the things they asked for, their executive director, John Winter, recently asked me if there could be a sign that could be put up in Bristow that just acknowledges that the land trust is a steward of Bristow. Is that something, I'm assuming the commission would we have to vote on, or?
So you have to, yeah, you would, that's up to the commission.
Okay,
itself. I don't, I don't know.
all right. Any discussion on it?
I can tell you the Conservancy doesn't have one saying that they're, helping steward the Waveney, so.
All right. And or anyone here, any discussion?
Depends
My own opinion about signage at Bristow is it's getting a little overloaded.
That's everywhere, but yes, that's why I'm hesitant, right? I'm a little hesitant on, we're gonna be putting in some signs that say, please close the gate, but they're only gonna be 6 by 12 green with white lettering on the gate itself, only because we can't get people that, every time I drive past 106, the gate is open. We put closures on them, so they'll latch. We did not put an automatic closure because,
To take a finger out.
well, that and also our fence contractor said, if they're coming the wrong direction, they'll fight against the closure and they'll wind up breaking it. Because if they want it to swing in, right now they swing both ways. If they want it to swing in as they're walking in, they'll push against the closure. And he said, you'll break them. And he says, it happens all the time. So I said, okay. I said, so he said, just put a latch in. And I said, all right, I'll put a sign in. So they're only going to be, like I said, 6 by 12, so like the standard size. And it's going to just say, please close gate, white on green, double-sided, and then but yes, I'm more of the opinion of less is more, especially in a park. We're trying to, in every one of our other parks, we're trying to put on a wood post with wood back, so you can't see the metal from the back. You can't see anything other than the metal from the front, which is the sign, and then everything else is wood. We're changing over all those, so I'm of the same opinion, but you can make that a determination at that point.
I don't know if I'm conflicted or not. This is the first I've heard of it, but I think it depends on the sign. I think it's a reasonable request from someone who's going to be working, on the park and sending
I wouldn't
resources there.
disagree with that. My point is only that it seems to me signs get multiplying. Nobody ever consolidates or eliminates and it's a lot. And I understand that the educational side, everybody wants to have the information out there. All of that is great. It's just finally you come in there and you think to yourself, this is not a sanctuary.
So maybe what we should do is come back, ask for what the land trust, exactly what it looks like that
Yeah.
they're proposing. And
It
then
doesn't
come-
have
Well,
to
they have
even-
signs in their other properties.
but that's a
But-
little over the top, I think, personally. I mean, for the
Yeah, yeah.
Bristow purpose,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But if there was a marker that doesn't even have to be on the outside of the park, it could be interior
Yeah,
on a tree somewhere.
could be. Sorry, Anne?
that I was thinking that, if it's Bristow is a big place, and if it was a pretty subtle sign somewhere where we're crediting our partners and thanking, it could be, I don't know if there's a sign that thanks supporters of Bristow, but it could be as simple as like on a stone on the pathway, thanking supporters and stewards of the park. I think, I can see not wanting to clutter up the entrances to the park with lots of signage, but somewhere along the way, there could be a subtle thing that thanks our partners and supporters and the land trust.
So I propose that we
Yes.
reach out to Land Trust, see what they're proposing, get an idea of a picture of what it looked like, and then come back and take a vote on it.
Exactly. I
Okay,
think that's a great idea.
okay, thank you. The gate signs.
With a suggestion that something interior, I think.
Yeah,
Dan's
something
suggestion was kind
interior.
of perfect.
Yeah,
Actually, I would agree with John, rather than an open-ended conversation about what is it that you're suggesting, that we actually proactively suggest what they should be suggesting.
Yeah, I
Well,
agree
so
with that.
we can reach out that it'd be something interior and then
Yeah.
come back and see. Okay, I'll reach out to John Winter. The gate signs, you already talked about.
They've been ordered. I'm surprised they're not here yet.
Okay. On Old Sanford Road, there was supposed to be ADA parking space.
I haven't put the sign.
Okay, so that's just gonna be, because I see that people are parking in that first spot.
First, Bob?
Yeah.
I just need to put a sign up. I'm trying to avoid putting any markings on the,
Yeah, the cobbles.
pavement?
Yeah,
by statute, I just need a sign. So I
Okay.
plan on putting a sign at the wood bumper, the front bumper, that first space. And that should delineate it without having to do any other markings.
And just as a question, that's a requirement to have.
The sign is required.
And the space itself is also.
The
a
space is
requirement.
required too. Yeah, your first space in a lot should be a van accessible space,
Right.
which this will be.
right.
So, but yeah, your first space in a lot, and then your 26th, and then your 51st,
Gotcha. Thanks.
I think.
Yeah, and we've had some people reach out, at least to me, saying, some
Have you?
seniors, yeah.
Because I haven't gotten one, but.
Well, I got this
we'll
whole
we'll
stake
make it
foot
a-
connection.
Yeah, we'll make it a point, though.
Okay, next was the watering in Bristow. I know Titan was in there and she watered when she was doing some work. And she reached out to me and said that things were really dry in there. So like how often is the oak tree getting, like, what is the town responsibility on the watering? I mean,
We've been watering.
okay,
We're stopping watering. This week, we're not watering anymore because we're taking the baskets down.
right,
So we're done on Friday. At that point in time, it's going to free up a little bit more time. So if there's additional work that needs to be done, the fernery itself, we never
On board.
said we were going to take care of because that's a very distinctive feature that I prefer to have Ty take care of. She was.
They're gonna die back anyway in probably another few weeks.
Right, but overall, I want to make sure that I'm not watering too much, watering too little. At that point in time, when the fernery
right,
was proposed, that one, we'll take care of trees and we'll take care of baskets and we'll take care of things but fernery was a little bit more difficult.
right.
So I was thinking that, it would be better to almost hire a service to come in and take care of that, hire her directly to come in and take care of it. So when she, started saying that it needed to be done, I said, well, just go there, please, and take care of it for now until we can figure out what we're going to do.
Okay. Okay, but when she does work, that comes out of our line item budget, right?
Yes.
So should we approve that before work is done?
It hasn't in the past, but we can certainly do that, if you'd like. I can also pay for it out of a tree maintenance budget too for now, but but it was more on the side of, I felt that you didn't want to have everything die. So
Yeah, no,
instead
we
of
don't.
having everything die, I'd rather have it, have her go take care of it.
And we can, I'll reach out to Land Trust, but they had, the initial budget for the Camp Hutchins Garden included a water pump
It did?
Yeah.
Okay.
to water that area, because those plants still need to establish.
Mhm.
And they might even need some still in the spring.
Right. That also might be a thing that the land trust could take care of is the fernery itself.
Well, that's what yeah, so that was the thing, is that they could at least do the one near the pond, since we can take from there. And I've been speaking with Ty about what type of program she has. I know this is not on the agenda, but it was brought up about the electric bikes in the parks. Is there a way to put a sign up saying not allowed?
You can, yeah,
I know you can, it's enforcement, but I see that the state law said that all electric bikes are not allowed on paths unless they've been hard surfaced, but if they've
I
been,
didn't see that. If you want to send me that, that would be great. But
yeah, hold on.
it really comes down to the commission. If the commission wants a sign, we'd be happy to put one up, or two at each gate, one at each gate, I should say. They're predominantly using the upper gate and the lower gate, the larger path. They're not really using the lower one past the baseball field, but
Yeah, so it sounds like, yeah, here, I'll send this to you. It says, except where permitted, oh, I keep on losing it, by local ordinance, an electric bicycle as defined in section 14-1 of the general statutes as amended by this act shall not be ridden on a bicycle trail or path or multi-use trail or path designated for non-motorized traffic if such trail or paths have a natural surface tread made by clearing and grading the soil and no surfacing materials have been added.
Okay,
Is that,
I don't know.
Lawyers.
We added a surface material to it, so there is a surface material to it.
the
Albeit it's not
gravel?
a- Yeah, albeit it's not a all-weather surface, it's not a hard surface, but it's not dirt either. It's just not, it's not a, naturalized surface. I'd have to read that again, and you can
I'll send it.
certainly err on the side of caution and put it up, but they are a problem. I don't know if it's all e-bikes or it's, I don't know if the skid marks that I just got the other day were from an e-bike or from just a normal bike coming down the hill. Because it could have been either. That could have been a mountain bike too,
Exactly.
technically
Right.
a mountain bike. So I don't know.
Okay,
I do know that e-bikes have been in there because I've seen them. But
yeah, so,
other than that, I don't know. But if you want to sign it, we can certainly, either that or you can say that, not that they're not allowed, but be careful while riding. We can do different things. You can take whatever tack the commission wants to take.
Right.
You want to ban them, you can ban them. You want to
Right.
stay, please ride responsibly. You can do that too, because I think that people fail to realize, there is a hierarchy on the trail system as well. Horses come first, then pedestrians, then bikes. I don't think that people are aware of that
get my horse.
responsible triangle. Used to be a big thing back when
I
was riding,
remember
when
as a
was
kid
riding.
Waveney
Right.
horses. We'd ride up from Darien.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think it's been forgotten now.
Yeah.
But I think so I think it's worthwhile. It's just a question of, where do you want to take it?
So could the commission ban electric bikes if it was so?
I don't know that.
Yeah.
That's a question for the.
I know the
for
Parks
lawyer.
Department's also looking.
Parks Department's looking at a protocol in the parks. Yes. As to, behaviors, proper behavior in the parks. That's a larger document. But and we could ask the attorney whether or not you can actually an outright ban. I don't know. Or you could go to the council and ask for an ordinance that would do that. We could review what the ordinance says now. I don't know what, I'd have to review back and see. what
Yeah,
it
because
says.
Stanford's working on an ordinance right now regarding.
Right, so you
electric
could go
bikes.
that route, and in the interim, you could just post a sign that says, please ride responsibly.
And what does that mean to a 15-year-old?
I don't know. I know my 15-year-old would take it to heart, but I can't say what others would do, but
Sorry, Anne, you have a question?
It's just sort of a comment. I just wanted to note that the electric scooter topic is this conversation we're having is part of a bigger conversation in town about electric scooters. The New Canaan moms are talking about this a lot. It's kids on scooters on roads and sidewalks and parks. And so I think the interest in this is beyond just Bristow Park. And I wonder whether this is also bubbling up in other town council agendas right now.
So Stanford's talking about an ordinance based on the state
Right.
statute that allows fines and,
Right, but here in New
Seasonally.
Canaan, there are a lot of
Yeah.
people talking about this right now and sending complaints to the selectmen.
I know the PD is looking at it because the chief mentioned it this morning.
yeah, and there was a story
There was
yesterday.
a story in the Kane and I
Yeah.
about him, about finding parents as well.
So I would, yeah,
My thinking is that, given the nature of this park as a bird sanctuary, I'd
Yeah.
personally be happy to suggest that all bikes be walked through the park, not just electric bikes. I mean, I just don't think it's a biking path. That's my
Right.
personal point of view.
I do see some people just on their bikes going through the main bit, but it's like the kids on the electric bikes that were going around the Cam Hutchins thing and
But you can do that, to Tiger's point, you can do that with a dirt bike too, right? You can,
yeah,
I mean, it's not as destructive, but it can be destructive and certainly, distracting.
yeah.
I agree, John. It's a sanctuary isn't a bike trail, a dirt bike trail.
So should we reach out to Tom Butterworth and Hillary Ordman? I can reach out and see if the town council is going to bring this up as a townwide ordinance.
Or you could also just, you could put a sign that says, please dismount your bikes when entering the sanctuary.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to remind people that it is a sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
It's not necessarily a, you know, it's not a different type of park, you know, it's a different type of park. So you can, you know, you can go that route. That doesn't require anything. You're just asking them to dismount. You're not
Yeah.
leasing it at any point. You're just asking them to dismount, you know, and you're asking for all bikes to be dismounted. That I don't think anybody has to, if you want to ban someone from actually, you know, at that
Right.
point in time, and then fine and associated with it, then you got to go through, you have to definitely go through.
So
the
I think if we
ordinance.
do that, then we should put it on the next agenda so people can see that that's something, so there could be public comment.
I like that idea. And then I think it also gives other people walking through the park some authority to suggest, you know, you should be walking your bike
Right.
here, right?
I agree. I agree with this idea. And I just wanted to, Tiger, what was the order? You said horses, people,
And bikes.
then bikes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a responsibility triangle from way back. And the equestrian was on the top because you can't, the equestrian is the horse is,
Yeah.
It's an unknown, right? You don't know how the horse is going to react. So it also, you know, it stands to, so horses came first, pedestrians were second, bikes were third. So if you were on a trail, so the bike would dismount and walk past the horse, bike dismounts and walk past the pedestrian, and the pedestrian stops and allows the horse to pass. And you pass on the upside. So you actually, you're standing on the upside and allowing the horse to downhill portion. So that was what the responsibility, if you look back on it, that was what the responsibility triangle was. No one dismounts now for a bike to pass a pedestrian, but at least you were supposed to. Yeah,
Okay, so,
minute. So I'm gonna,
all right, so I'll put that on the next agenda.
Yeah.
I want public comment on that. Okay, next is there an update from the Environmental Coalition? I don't know if there's an update on,
you're all right.
I know the library is having their program on Tuesday. Do you need to go?
I gotta go. For me, sorry.
Yeah, something, can we skip over, then we'll pass because Katie's here about the food scraps. So do you want to just do a quick update? Tiger's still here for a quick second?
Sure. I mean, I think you probably know, I don't know if the commission knows, but we have a donor who's offered to purchase a on-site sort of industrial composter. So I think we met, Plant New Canaan met with Deanna a couple of weeks ago to sort of talk through that and how that would work. And then Plant New Canaan also has reserves to pay for residual costs, electricity and other things, and installation. So our last update from Gianna was that she was going to meet with Tiger and they were going to see if there's space available at the transfer station. So that's, I think, where we are on that. Do you have updates or?
No, other than we just need to set it. I met with her. That's correct. And then we just need to set a time to walk. Donnie, transfer, and you and I, and then see exactly what, how much footprint it takes.
Right.
And where would be the best location for it, given how the transfer station works.
Right.
And then see. So that's just the next step would be to have a walkthrough and kind of see if there's an area that stands out as would be the best location. When we went to Stanford, it was right on the.
But it was
Yeah.
it was the 10.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's where the compost was stored, but where the
Right.
composter was right on the platform. I
Yeah.
don't know if we've got enough room on our platform to put it there. It was perfect in Stanford. I just don't know, where we are, what would work best. We just need to walk the property and see what would work best for the station and then the people using it, what would be
Right.
most conducive. The actual location for the composting material likely could be down by the salt and by where we put mulch. We could likely put another bin down there for that. It's more the composter itself. Where would we put it? It's kind of, I need to know the size of it, its requirements for wiring, and then that.
I can send you all of
Yeah,
that.
if you could do that, then
Yeah.
we can go down and kind of take a look and see where's the best place to put it.
Would it be where residents, though, would drop off in a bucket that would then be uploaded? I think the way it works in Stanford now is a bucket can be,
They have like a lift. that
A
you put your
lift.
bucket in. So the
Resident does it himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Puts it in the bucket and then they press a button and it automatically goes in and gets in queue.
Okay, so is that the thing?
That would be best. You know, right now we're self-service on everything, right?
Right.
Everything is self-service. That would be nice if that was self-service as well. They just bring the food, you know, they're composting in, dump it in the bucket, press a button, and then it's conveyed up to the top and dumps in through the top. And then it goes through, it's digesting at that point. That's what I was envisioning, was something similar to Stanford, but we just don't have the footprint underneath the canopy,
Right,
you know, in its present setup. We'd have to figure that out. You
okay.
know, that's all.
Stanford started without that lift service, and that was an improvement that they made.
Yeah.
That
They
was
did it.
Definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, I also think it's good for the resident.
Yeah.
That they see, it's they do the process, right? They press the button and it goes, and they're just not handing it to one of my guys and then trusting that it happens. They actually see the
Yeah.
process. I think I like that part. I like that part that they're part of it.
So I'm sorry, because I've visited Stanford twice. Is it something you can just put a bag in and then press the button, or does it have to be a bucket? I can't remember.
I think it has to be hard. I can't remember. I have to look back. I have photos of it though. I'll
Okay,
I'm remembering a bin that someone just dumped their bin into the bin, and then the bin went up and emptied, and then came back and reset itself
and
For
then
the
you can
next-
put stuff in the
for the
bin.
next individual. Yeah.
Okay, and Don from there, Don
Sulori or whatever. it was.
Solari,
Yeah.
he would be amenable to people reaching out to him again.
Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as you get
I'll get the specs to Tiger today. That's super
It'd be
easy.
great.
And I can dig a picture from that visit to see that sort of,
and then with having this, then we would no longer have the ship, the food scraps out.
Right, we wouldn't have to contract with curbside compost.
Right.
Then we could get rid of the bins, we could get rid of everything and yeah, we would do it on site. And then whatever was made similar to Stanford, we could store in a small tent and have someone come and grab it, a resident come and grab it, you know, if they wanted it for their, for their beds.
Any questions?
That's interesting. Thanks, Kate.
yeah, absolutely.
So thank you, Tiger. Sorry, I'll leave.
It's okay.
Katie, sorry, since I moved you up because Tiger had to go. Is anything else you want to, it was the food scrap and swap shop update?
We have a swap shop. Tiger, I don't know if you saw this. Sorry. We just have this drawing. Stephanie did this of what we'd like to add, sort of put there to do redeemables in, something along those lines.
Oh, that's for
Redeemables.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if- instead of a reverse vending machine, do that.
Yeah,
and then it gets-
exactly.
It'll fit.
So we can send you sort of more specifics on that, but we'd like to build, so we'd like to collect redeemables near the swap shop. They've now gone up to 10 cents, and then contract with iRecycle, which is a third party that can come in, picks them up, and then gives money that,
Can you just email that to Tiger?
yeah.
I think that would work, yeah.
Okay.
That's an actual look. I was looking at a different location. That's a better location than what I was
Okay,
thinking of, so that's
great.
even better.
I will.
She's a designer.
send it
so-
to
I'm doing no, she did not better job.
Thank you, Tiger.
Thank you.
So if anyone's unaware of this initiative, it's to collect redeemable cans. Working with the New Canaan, Plant New Canaan Youth Board. And money raised would go towards various nonprofits in
Go to
town.
different nonprofits in town, although there is maybe a thought that some of the money could be put towards the town's composting too. Like we could have some of it go towards the current curbside compost fees or something like that.
Okay, and those,
Offset,
because Plant New Canaan pays for the,
Planet New Canaan pays for those, right? So currently curbside services, the New Canaan Transportation, and Planet New Canaan pays for that haulage every year.
Right.
the difference between the tipping
Right.
fee and the, yeah.
Exactly.
That was
So,
about $30.
$3,500 a year.
Yep.
So, so yeah, we haven't sort of figured out what, but the youth board liked the idea of allocating the, whatever funds came in through the redeemables to different, local nonprofits throughout the year. There could be a variety of different things, so.
I'd love to see it earmarked towards conservation efforts. I
Be
mean-
fantastic, yeah. I think the idea was to like, obviously conservation being key, but also to sort of engage more stakeholders too. Like if you,
That's
if for
fair.
2 months you're supporting the Booster Club, are
Yeah.
you then pulling in people who might not have been sort of conservation aware
That's-
otherwise?
that's a fair point,
So
yeah.
I think they were hoping for a balance of those things, so. But obviously all TBD and.
Right. I'd love to see that picture too.
Oh, it's,
Yeah.
it's, it's just a
Oh.
little rendering of a shed that we'll either buy or make. That would go, this is the current swap shop. And so it would go
Oh,
here,
simple.
very simple.
I wonder, I hope the problem is that it gets filled up. Like overflow. Like my thinking is that that's gonna have to be emptied very regularly.
Oh, and so one of the pieces of feedback that we provided, so when we did these sketches was, yeah, we're gonna need to have a little bit more space for
Yeah.
for storage, but iRecycle will come and pick up, and so
Yeah.
they'll come directly here and pick up the bags. So that's the
Fantastic.
that's the plan, yeah, so.
Any questions? What, you were at the swap shop today? It was busy, I take it.
It was busy today, busy every day at the swap shop. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
anything else for me, or
That book thing is fantastic. When did you add that?
that was in
That
there
wasn't-
a
that
couple
was
months ago.
In the summer?
Yes.
That was the
so-
library requested it, right?
No, we requested it and,
Oh, the second one.
It
yeah,
doesn't go to
Yeah.
the library. It goes off to a third party.
it does go to
Mm-hmm.
a third party. It gets filled all the time and we try to keep sort of more current and books that will be popular in the swap shop and,
Yeah.
and kind of.
But they-
cycle
But the
through.
library requested the first
The
one
first
go
one,
in and
yeah.
they use it to drop off
Yeah.
books.
Exactly, so.
They use it
Mhm.
to drop off their books.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because this organization doesn't necessarily recycle the books. I mean, they recycle them, but they compost them.
Right.
They shred them.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep. So, I think they take them and they pull out what they can to resell or do whatever, and then they shred the
Yeah.
remaining, so. Yeah, so,
Okay,
anything
thank
else
you.
for me, or is that
No,
it?
thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry you waited so long. Okay, so nothing on the Environment Coalition update. Number 7 on the agenda, the POC update.
That POCD draft final thingy goes back to P and Z tonight.
Tonight. Yep, for the last review. And I sent all the
Well,
commissioners,
no, they actually are the last approval.
right, for
Right.
the, but I sent the changes to all the commissioners to take a look.
I've never seen such wimpy language in my life. I mean, if it isn't researched and it isn't if we choose to,
Right.
that's ridiculous. This is your document. What's the matter with these people?
I think,
This is actually even more pathetic than 2014. We are losing ground here.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's just my comment.
well, yeah, some things were cut as well. And
Yes.
so,
But the point of it is, I guess my point is that they lost the perspective on what they were being asked to do. They're not making regulations. They're not choosing to approve this or that. They're putting out a document that says, these are areas that we would like to look at for future whatever. Nothing more.
yeah,
I mean, from that perspective, I'm reading this and I'm thinking, yeah, this is pathetic.
yeah,
You're
they-
not choosing to do anything. Anyway,
Relatively few mandates.
I
yeah.
find
Yeah.
it very frustrating. This is our leadership group and they can't even get themselves to say where they're going to lead. They're just so kind of, oh, well.
all right. So I don't know, Anne, if you're still out there, do you want to make any comment?
Well, why don't we go through the specific changes that are in the Conservation Commission's wheelhouse?
Okay, so I sent you that list. Do you want to bring that up?
Well, sure. Why don't we, I'm curious to hear what my fellow commissioners think of the change on page, was it 72,
Action F, or that was
Action.
77?
action F?
And look over your shoulder.
So that was the having a person added to town for sustainability, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was taken out by town council and then the subcommittee, P and Z subcommittee approved it.
Mhm.
I saw that part on the video and it was
Yeah,
related to not wanting to mandate a individual and a salary and all of that
Yeah.
for just that purpose.
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
Not wanting to address it.
Yeah, and Sarah said that this was from information that she received at the earlier meetings. What, people in the public and the Environmental Coalition group had come to her and said which they wanted, and that's why it was included.
Mhm.
Um,
And it was removed because it was money associated with it.
yeah. I think-
Yeah.
It's like the Conservation Commission.
Mhm.
Well, no, that's, I think that's what's interesting about this is that the town already has a group that is devoted to this topic, and it's the Conservation Commission. And so I think there was a discussion at the meeting about whether, this would be, whether sustainability and conservation would be one person's job or whether it's just something that everybody brings into the conversation. But the Conservation Commission already exists devoted to this topic, and I wonder if there's a rewrite to that line that proposes some kind of increased involvement of the existing commission that's appointed by the first selectman, which is this commission, in, new development or town council discussions about anything that touches upon, the conservation.
Well, the Conservation Commission has in our charter says what, Bristow and waterways and stuff like that. So, the town council does supposed to give committee reports at the end of each of their meetings. And we have two co-chairs who are supposed to, from the town council, are supposed to watch our meetings and report on them. I don't know, they do. That's how but I think the action F that was removed was specifically, about having a paid individual that would go through all the recycling information, everything like that, and get the information out to the public, working with various town departments. My personal opinion is conservation commissioners don't have the time to constantly be doing. You have a lot of nonprofits that have been picking up the slack in that, but I mean, we are advocating for, recycling or, when it's in the meetings.
My personal opinion on this is just another example of the town elected officials stepping away from a responsibility that they feel like they're getting for free, and that there is no leadership there to say, this is something we want to do as a town body. There's nothing here that says, this is a community objective.
Mhm.
And I would agree with Ann. I think it's very unfortunate, but I don't think you're going to get that. Not tonight.
Well, there may be a way to, I think the point of that line, and I didn't write it or propose it, but I think the point of that line was how can we aspire to creating a mechanism whereby, sustainability, conservation, ecology, protecting our natural resources becomes part of every conversation about development in this town. And so the line seemed to, suggested a staff member that would be dedicated to that. But I wonder if there are other ways, where there's a formal mechanism to bring sustainability into, rather than just leaving it to the, like making no change or making no writing down no aspiration. John, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this.
From a practical perspective right now, I think we are where we are on this. I get part of the flexibility, wanting flexibility as opposed to having a dedicated person, right? A dedicated job, right? So I kind of understand the thought process, but then the question is, how do you not lose the initiative without
Yeah.
having the dedicated person.
I think
Mhm.
another thing we could do is I can reach out and ask with the sustainability team if that's up and running again, if that's, I left it, but, because they would put together actual actions
Hmm.
and for the town to do. So kind of see what's going on there. So if we're gonna get recertified, for Sustainable Connecticut.
Right.
But I don't think they've been, any of that has been up and running.
So that's definitely a kind of a push in the right direction, right?
Yeah.
See if that can continue.
Yeah, so I'll reach out. I think I stepped
I
off.
don't
of it.
have another
Yeah.
practical solution.
Yeah, but I mean, we do have a budget that keeps us relevant. The town council does not report on any commissions unless they have a budget.
Yeah.
So therefore, they are supposed to be reporting on what we discuss. To keep
Yeah.
it somewhat relevant, but otherwise, I mean, it's tonight, people can give feedback, but this is,
I think they intend to vote.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
So I
There's
don't know
feedback.
what the point is of bothering even to go through this exercise.
Oh,
Well-
yeah.
Well, I think we were, Robin, weren't we just going to discuss the specific changes that were conservation related? I had a question about, there was a motion to edit or delete something regarding bike lanes. And I think there was some curiosity expressed about that in public discussion. So I couldn't make heads or tails of the document that was provided to us, whether that bike lane change or the bike route change was made or wasn't made. Anybody? Could
So
anyone-
fortunately, Tiger left, but that, the issue is that with whether it would be Westcog, I believe, would come in and was the outside entity they were discussing.
Mhm.
Coming in and doing the bike lanes. I know that New Canaan and Darien came together to try to get a grant for bike lanes. Was it 4 years ago? 5 years ago? They didn't get it. And I believe they were applying for the grant through Westcog. But yeah, from the changes I got from Sarah. I mean, yeah, I think this was on the agenda just because people were interested, but I sent what was changed and it's already the recommendations from town council. This is a P and Z, it's not town council. They voted for approving and suggesting the recommendations. P and Z did not have to take those recommendations, and some they did not. But some they did, like Action F. And
So
as
this is the one.
Sarah said in the meeting,
Mhm.
that was information she got in the early meetings, but not so much the later meetings of the POCD. To be fair, the meetings went on. The first one was in September and they were still having public meetings in June. I mean, I didn't even go to the June one. It was a lot.
Is there a P&Z, a current draft of the P&Z, a POCD document that's going to be voted on tonight?
Yes.
So you can compare both the earlier draft and the draft with the changes made?
Yeah, so they said if you reach out to Sarah, send her an email, you should get the new draft and let's just see for,
I think it's online.
yeah, it'll be on the town website.
Yeah.
And as for what time? Yeah, it's a 7 o'clock. It's the planning and zoning special meeting.
Is that a public meeting on Zoom?
Yep, it's on Zoom. So if you go to the town calendar and you go the government calendar and you go to tonight, you can click up the agenda, which has the Zoom link.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's going to have comments on the POCD and the draft, and then decision and vote to adopt the 2024 Plan of Conservation and Development with an effective date of November 1st, 2024.
And you got this red line version from
Sarah.
Sarah, who said, yeah, so that's what I sent out to all the commissioners. So I mean, I'm with you, John, I mean, it is what it is at this point. So I don't think there's much more to discuss.
Yeah, but making public comment on points of view is still heard.
Right.
I agree. I don't think, if they're taking public comment, then presumably there are topics still in play.
Well, I would disagree with that
Yeah, I don't,
observation. I think this is a state statute requirement, and I think that's what they're doing.
I mean,
But that doesn't mean there's no
No,
value.
no,
yeah.
you know, speak out.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying is
Yeah,
that I don't think they were
I get it.
speaking
Yes,
public comment. I
yeah.
think they're obligated to entertain
Yeah.
public comment.
I mean, certainly if you had 100 people show up
Oh, yes.
about something, that would definitely,
Yeah.
And not
Stir
to
the
diminish,
pot.
Yeah.
not to diminish one voice saying, making it a statement. It gets
Right.
heard, it gets registered in people's minds for
Right.
next time, but I think we're, at this point, we are at the next iteration of either this document or something else.
yeah,
We have 10 years to ruminate over it.
this is true. Okay, next on the agenda, we skipped over since Tiger was leaving, discussion on minutes taking. I don't know, Susan, it'd be easier, but per town council vote taken on December 14th, 2022, minutes of the town council meetings will direct access to newcanaan.info for a complete video recording of the meeting and by clicking on the agenda minutes tab, and that the recorded minutes will only include actions taken by the council. Wondering if the Conservation Commission would be interested in following the suit of town council regarding minutes.
You know, it's-
Sorry, I'm sorry, what is the action they're planning to, I missed what you said, sorry.
It's regarding taking minutes. So the action that town council did was basically, minutes just have to be motions. You need to record motions that were made or votes. So what the town council voted on in December 14th, 2024 was that the minutes of the town council meetings will direct access to newcanaan.info for a complete video recording of the meeting and by clicking on the agenda minutes tab, and that the recorded minutes will only include actions taken by the council. So the minutes themselves will not be given deep descriptions, but it will direct people to the video.
We had this conversation, I want to say 2 years ago,
Mm,
and we were told that that was not proper.
okay,
I mean, we were told.
yeah.
5 of us. I'm not saying that, I think by default, I think they're having trouble taking minutes. And this seems like a reasonable substitute, and I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
Other than it's tedious to listen to these recordings.
Yeah, I think the reason it happened with town council is because it was a discussion on cell phone towers and some people were coming in, and then when the minutes were drafted, some people were upset because they're like, no, that's not what I said, or, it was, and
It's a
could
fair
it be
point.
biased
Mhm.
Yeah.
creating minutes or
Yeah.
anything like that?
Well, there's an auto-generated transcript of the town council meetings that you can
It's a video
access.
recording like all the
Yeah.
other meetings. So legitimately speaking, if someone's interested in knowing what was said,
Yeah,
but.
I mean, I think it's fine. Personally, I think it's fine. I think obviously going to the video is the surest way to capture the context and the
And the
body
correct.
language and all of that,
Right.
right? And it makes everyone's life a little bit easier. And is it as easy to sort? No. Is it easy to search? No, not at all.
No.
there's just possibility though of being able to say when the motions were made on the video.
And all of this will likely improve as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is I did reach out to Pam about using AI as well.
Hmm.
But I think in the meantime, I don't think they have that yet for the system here.
I
But I
think you
think-
could just provide time code so viewers could scrub to the
Yeah.
section of the video where a motion is discussed.
Or even the agenda items. Agenda item 7 is at
Right.
5:01.
So maybe
Agenda item
it's in meetings, we give the time.
Yeah.
Actually, when, and then that will just be noted.
Yes.
So I will make a motion at, see, I don't know how long this has been recording. That's the problem because we didn't start it.
Well, we don't even need to give the time, but the secretary can just maybe scan the video. I don't know whether that's easier or not.
What
For
secretary?
Yeah, okay, what secretary? Someone
Mhm.
could,
But there is no someone, I think that's the solution here, is that there's really, I don't know who did these minutes, but I'm assuming
The
you
me,
did.
yeah,
And essentially this just replaces that format.
yeah.
There's no recording of the discussions, like people who were invited here to do updates and the like. You'd have to go to the video to listen to them.
Yeah, I could help with that if you're looking for someone to take it on. Just go to the agenda and once Lola creates the recording of the Zoom meeting, find the point at which a discussion
But
began.
the
And-
recordings are always 24 hours later on YouTube.
Right,
So they're the town and UK, yeah.
right, but creating a document that offers time code for discussion points.
yeah, that's a solution, or
Yeah.
calling it out. We're proceeding to item 7 and we're,
It's giving it
15
time.
minutes into the.
Yeah,
into the meeting.
I mean, it
it's
doesn't
now
work for
12,
today,
blah,
but
blah, So we're moving on to
Yeah.
this.
yeah.
We could do that
But-
ourselves.
I think Ann's suggestion is a easier one, maybe a better one, maybe better, but in terms of finding things, but more precise, right?
Right.
In terms of finding it in there, but either way.
So Susan, you no longer want to be secretary, correct?
No, I retired
You-
in June.
Oh, you're, okay, officially. So we should, and would you, because we'll have to make a motion, do you want to take on secretary?
I think I need to understand what the secretary role entails before responding to that, but I certainly would be willing.
Minutes.
It's minutes.
It's just minutes.
Okay,
So if you're talking about going through and just, then the minutes would just be the video with the timestamps.
sure. I'd be
All
happy.
right, so I'm going to make a motion that Ann Silvio becomes the secretary for New Canaan Conservation Commission. Any second,
I'll second that.
Okay.
third, all in favor?
All in favor?
Okay. And then I will also make a motion that we adopt what town council did in December 14th, 2024, where meetings will just be motions, and that we will direct people to the video for the full context. A second,
Second.
all in favor?
I,
Aye. Ann's all in favor? It's unanimous.
Can I make a quick related motion? I would
Sure.
like to make a motion that we keep our Conservation Commission meetings publicly available on YouTube for only as long as the town code requires us to, so that it's not online in perpetuity. And that anything beyond that point, people can do their research at town hall to find that information.
Oh, so that would be something to discuss with the town, because the Tucker Murphy, because the town has requirements that they do with the meetings.
Right.
So,
We should follow those requirements, but as opposed to leaving them live in perpetuity online.
yeah, so we need to check with Tucker first, though, to make sure because that might not be something we can we can do a vote over. That might be something under their umbrella.
Okay,
the video recordings up.
I know, I'm not too sure, actually.
I'm not either.
Yeah,
That
I
should
think
be-
they're just up forever because they're never taken down. And I think we should,
Well, no, that might be
Wait.
because there is no written document anymore on these meetings. The video may be the in
The document.
perpetuity document.
yeah. So, yeah, so, and I would reach out to Tucker.
Okay, I'll do that and I'll report back.
Well,
Yeah.
Ann's suggestion was it would be available on town hall.
Yeah.
So it's not like it would be erased. It would just be not online for anyone anywhere in the world to access.
Right.
But if it's not online, how is it recorded?
No, it is online for as long, whatever length of time they require it to be online.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to find out if there's a rule or something, because I know recently, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, the town clerk's department had to put all the real estate, everything online.
Right.
So people it was easier, so people didn't have to come in. Of course,
Right.
then everyone access easily. So that was changed. So Tucker will know.
It's a great point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but Tucker, let's
Yeah.
liaise with her, right?
Yeah, because we're not the ones that, it could be something where the state has, because the state has now said that all meetings have to be hybrid
Right.
in order for, accessibility. So, yeah, because it was during the pandemic, but then it through. All right, so on that note, I would make a motion to adjourn at 1:21.
So move.
Yep.
Second, all in favor? Okay,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thanks, Ann.
Can I ask
You're
you,
welcome, Ann.
Here,
is the New Canaan Conservation Commission a member of the Connecticut Conservation Commission coalition?
I don't think so. I can look that up.
Association of Conservation Commission,
I think we
sorry.
would know.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I don't either. Okay,
But there is such a thing.
yes. And I've been to this before. Unfortunately, it's in Bristol, but that's where they hold it. But some of these speakers are really interesting.
This is the conservation and inland.
The Association of
Take a picture of
Conservation and, or you can just go online.
Well, I know, but this will remind me to do that.
Okay, all right, isn't that funny? We go online to
Yeah.
remind us to go.
Yeah,
online.
yeah, yeah.
But if you just, they have a very nice description of who these, I don't
Yeah.
particularly like their keynote speakers, but I do like these. So, and they're short. I mean, they're just an hour.
Saturday, November 16th, I'll be away, but
Well, you might find this too.
online, it might
You
all be
might,
online.
you might. I have not looked into that, but the one I went to, not last year, year before last. It's just very interesting
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and you hear what other people are doing. which is
Exactly.
interesting.
Okay.
Oh, this
All
is
right.
interesting. They even have job listings for conference workshops, job listings. Interesting.
It is interesting.
Just the idea of hearing what other conservation commissions are doing, right?
Well,
They're,
one of the speakers here is a fellow in Ridgefield who's very active.
Oh my gosh, Richfield's doing so much. They just put, Richfield just completed solar panels over the parking lot in their high school, like Fairfield.
Oh, wow.
And they just had they do so much. Katie, who was here, she's gone over there to
Oh,
visit.
wow.
And
Yeah.
all of the stuff they're doing with like they now have a composting at their transfer